There are two big reasons that people lose money day trading. Two big reasons that most day traders don't understand that they end up losing money. And this is something that expert day traders have problems with, beginner day traders, intermediate day traders have problems with. Let's talk more about these two issues that most day traders battle. Let's go. What's going on, guys? Patrick here, and today I want to talk about two major issues, two big problems that a lot of new day traders, intermediate day traders, expert day traders battle. And this is not something that you can easily overcome just by watching this video. It takes discipline, it takes practice, it takes time in front of the chart, and also seeing the results of what happens when you don't do these two things. The first, and probably one of the biggest issues for most new day traders, is trying to fight the trend. We talk a lot about this on the channel, right? We talk a lot about this idea, and this comes down to an emotional reaction to the market. The market goes up, and as it's going up, you're like, well, I'm not going to chase it. I'm not going to chase it because it's going to go higher, and I'm going to short the top. And what happens? You end up shorting at the top that you think is the top, and then the market goes higher. The thing is here, do you actually have a system? Do you have an edge? Do you have an actual reason to why you're shorting a big move up? Other than the fact of believing that it's going to go back down, just hoping and praying that I'm going to short and it's going to end up reversing, right? They think that shorting a move up is a reason to, they think just because the market's going higher, that getting short is the better option than possibly getting long. But you really got to rethink this, because why is that? It's an emotional reaction because you're afraid to enter long because you think, okay, if I get long, the market's going to reverse. So what am I going to do? I'm going to short. And you think you're being smart. You think you're being smart, and you might be right sometimes. But consistently trying to short a big move up is going to end up blowing up your account, because there will be days where you're like, oh, the market can't go higher. You know, the market's at resistance. And then all of a sudden it's like, wee, this keeps going higher. Even like having the VWAP on the chart, having, you know, a pivot point, whatever it is, having these levels on your chart, sometimes it creates a false reality that you think I can get short at the VWAP because it's not going to push through the VWAP, right? That's my risk. I'm going to risk this while the trend is pointing higher. The market's wanting to go higher. I'm going to short because I believe that it's not going to keep going higher. And guess what happens? The market ends up going higher. And this is a very dangerous way of trading. It's a very easy way to blow up your account. It's very easy to lose a lot of money when you're constantly fighting the trend. And I would say this is easily one of the number one reasons that most day traders lose money, is that they're constantly fighting the trend. If the market wants to go higher, let's go in, right? That's an opportunity. If I see like, hey, look, the market's pushing, we're in an overall trend higher, let's get long. The number two reason that I would say that most people lose money day trading, if you're watching this video right now, I can almost guarantee that most of you watching this video have a problem with this. I also sometimes have a problem with this. We end up entering a trade based on emotion, thinking that like, oh, it's going to push higher. Oh, it's going to push down. But what we don't really see is the market actually doing those two things, because we're in a chop zone. The market's in a choppy area. It's kind of going up, it's kind of going down, it's kind of do, just kind of ping-ponging back and forth. We talked about this live on the live stream today. We're like, hey, the market's literally just ping-ponging in this area right now. There's no reason for us to enter a trade. How many times have you entered a area that you knew was a chop zone? You knew that the market wasn't moving. The market does exact opposite of where you entered at. Let's say you got short, the market spikes up. Let's say you got long, it drops. And then all of a sudden you get out for a loss. And then 5 minutes later, the market then moves in the direction that you thought it would move. But the problem is we're not getting confirmation. We don't have an edge. Just because the market is going sideways and we think it's going to go higher at a certain point, we can still end up losing because we're going to get stopped out, and then the market's going to make the move after we get stopped out. So the biggest problem here is retraining your brain. The biggest problem here is trying to enter a trade when there is no trade. There is no edge. The market's not moving. If you can avoid not entering a trade when the market's not moving, I would say That right there is going to save you a lot of heartache. It's going to save you a lot of time, a lot of effort, just being able to enter a trade when the market's not moving, right? Like just avoiding that. Being able to avoid entering a trade when the market's not moving is going to save you a lot of trouble and a lot of issues. We talk about the 15-minute opening range breakout setups. That's something to think about. Like if we're at a key level, the market's just kind of ding, 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 bouncing, stay out of it. The market's consolidating before the next big move. There's no reason to enter a trade until you have an edge, until you have a reason to enter. We're trying to react to the market moving. We're not just simply entering because we think it's going to go higher or think it's going to go down, because we're going to end up losing. We're creating an emotional reason to enter a trade, not an actual probability, statistical reason to entering a trade. You cannot repeat that trade over and over 100 times. If you just constantly just try to enter because the market's going sideways, you're not going to be able to repeat that 100 times. All you're going to do is basically gamble on the fact that it might go up or it might go down. It's emotion. Number one reason of entering against the trend, and then the number two reason of entering a sideways market, those two reasons right there are nothing more than emotion. If the market is going higher and you're sitting there watching it and you're like creating this emotion, like, oh, it can't keep going higher, right? Like I'm not going to get long because it's going to pull back. Like, no, that's an emotional reaction to the market actually doing something, right? The market's moving and you're creating an emotional reason to why you're not going to enter a trade. Well, I'm not going to, get long because I know that if I enter long here, it's going to end up dumping on me. Or, like you have this emotional reaction to the market moving. Instead of creating an emotional reaction to why you're not entering a trade, you need to rewire your brain to be like, hey, the market is moving, right? It's giving me a signal to get long. The market's going up. I want to get in. I don't need the whole move. I just need to get in at a point where I think there's still possibility for that we push higher, right? You got to kind of create a reason, a probability, statistic reason to why you're entering, not just entering because, I just don't know, that's emotion. The same way that when you enter when the market's going sideways. Why do you enter when the market's going sideways? When you clearly see it's going sideways, when you clearly see it's not moving. Why do you enter? Because of emotion. Because like this FOMO, like, well, yeah, I'm going to get in here because I think it's going to go higher. Like thinking and believing and hoping and these things, like these are not actual reasons to enter a trade. These are emotions. You're creating emotions to why you're entering a trade. The number one and the number two issue for most day traders, trying to fight the trend and then entering a sideways choppy market is nothing more than emotion. You're creating an emotional reason to why you're entering the trade. That's the mentality aspect of it. That's the emotional aspect of trading. At the end of the day, buying low, selling high, shorting high, buying low, it's not rocket science. But the problem is, can you control your emotions to stay out of the market when there isn't a setup? You'll end up avoiding a lot of unneeded, unnecessary losses if you just avoid not trying to fight the trend and then not entering a sideways market, my friends. Let's go.